Hello everyone, my name is Frederick Garner Wibowo. Today I'll be discussing the best form of transportation in Jakarta. To kick things off, I'd like to start with types of transportation. When visiting a bustling city like Jakarta, we can think of many ways to get from point A to point B, and there are a few options. So first off, private transportation. These are your typical cars and or bikes. Next we have public transportation. Think of buses and or trains. And lastly we have shared transportation. This is your good old Grab and or Gojek. Moving forward, I'll be focusing more on public transportation. So going back to the title, we asked the question, what is the best form of transportation in Jakarta? And to answer that question, I'd like to give my vote to the humble angkot, or more specifically, angkot's partnered with Jaklingko. For those of you who don't know, angkot is a sort of minibus that takes you from a certain stop to another one, where you are free to get on and off whenever you'd like. Moving on, I'd like to talk about the pros of riding an angkot. First up, affordability. Similar to other public transportation, Jaklingko requires you to own either a e-money or a flash card for you to tap in and tap out of the vehicle. Here you can see a Jaklingko card, but in this case, Jaklingko removes the fees of angkot, making it completely free for those who own the card. Next is comfortability. Contrary to the perception of angkots being uncomfortable, today's angkots are actually now fully facilitized with air conditioning, cushioned seats, and even automatic doors and CCTVs. Lastly, community interaction. Due to the smaller space within angkots, it fosters a more friendly and close environment, where commuters are more likely to engage in conversation during the ride. A very fond memory of me was during high school, where at around 5 a.m. I would wake up and try to catch an angkot. Sometimes I would meet some aunties there and we would share stories and talk. If we were to multiply the average fee of a Grab ride to my school, times the days I went in and went back from school, you could say I saved around 6,100,000 rupiahs that year. Now, as every rose has its thorns, I'd like to talk about the cons of riding an angkot. First off, overcrowding. During peak hours, especially at around noon, the angkot will become so overfilled with people that it will become hard to breathe, and there are cases of people fainting due to suffocation. Next is the threat of theft. Now, despite there being installations of CCTVs, this does not eliminate the risk of your personal belongings being stolen. Lastly, schedule and road changes. From my experience, there has been multiple instances where the angkot came either 30 minutes earlier or 30 minutes late, at which that point it would be much better to simply order a Grab. If I had known about the schedule changes earlier, I wouldn't have missed so many angkot rides and my Grab expenses would have significantly been lowered. There were also instances where the angkot completely misses my home and I had to walk a few extra minutes to the next stop. Lastly, for the closing remarks. Although there are some mildly noticeable cons of riding an angkot, I find there to be a very unique and charming quality within this vehicle, which is why I place it as my #1 pick for the best form of transportation in Jakarta. Thank you for listening.